Good morning and welcome to another edition of Our Town here on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. My name is Darren Swenson. Our Town, as always, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust. Four-guest program on the lineup this morning. We're going to step into the toy department a little later on. The MFL MarMac Bulldogs later on this afternoon will play for the Class 1A state title, taking on Grundy Center at 4 o'clock. We'll have a conversation with Dan Anderson, head coach of the MFL MarMac Bulldogs, also a 1996 graduate of Decorah High School. We'll also talk with Decorah police officer Nick Yaneff. It may not seem like it right now, but winter weather is around the corner. He'll provide some winter weather getting ready for travel tips. Also, he'll talk about the current special traffic enforcement program that is underway as of this time. Again, weather may not seem like it, but the holidays are just around the corner, and holiday open houses will take place this weekend in Decorah. We'll get an update on those and all of the holiday information with Jessica Rilling from the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce. But we'll kick off the program this morning with Ben Krouse-Gagne. He is with Helping Services for Youth and Family. Coming up next Wednesday night, it's the start of the 19th annual Holiday Lights fundraiser at the Pulpit Rock Campground in Decorah. Ben will be our leadoff hitter this morning on Our Town. It's brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust, and you're in tune to it right here on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. Well, it kind of feels weird saying the holiday season is upon us as I sit here wearing shorts, a T-shirt, and it's 60 degrees outside as we talk to our friend Ben Krouse-Gagne from Helping Services for Youth and Families. But the holiday season is upon us, and you know what that means in the Decorah area. It's time for the Holiday Lights celebration. That's going to be starting already next week. Ben, how many years is this for Holiday Lights?
Yeah, Holiday Lights, this will be the 19th year of the lights. So yeah, as you mentioned, we'll kick it all off on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, for a walkthrough night. But then it's an exciting time, and it continues to grow. So we're thrilled to have the holidays back.
Let's remind people why you do this display and celebration.
Yeah, so Holiday Lights, along with being a wonderful community event, is Helping Services for Youth and Families' most important fundraiser. So the dollars that we raise through either our sponsorships, that I know many businesses and families sponsor part of Holiday Lights, but also folks who just drop in a donation, if that's $5, $10, $20, whatever you choose to do. So it's a free will donation to come visit the lights that all supports Helping Services programs throughout 8 counties in Northeast Iowa. So if you're coming from Elmwood County or Howard County, those dollars go back into your community as well. So the volunteers are out there greeting you and collecting those donations. So we appreciate everyone who does that.
How much planning goes into Holiday Lights every year?
Well, we always joke, and as we're reaching out to sponsors, they're like, "You're talking about Christmas already?" We joke, it's always Christmas over here. So we're constantly planning. There's folks as each year we try to think is like, is there a display we're missing that we can add? Is there a sponsor that would match and make it possible? So it's always, I know this year we're adding 3 new displays. So it's always a constant planning stage for it. And then our setup, we start at the beginning of November, and it takes us about 3 weeks to get everything fine-tuned and looking great for folks to come visit as we kick off with walkthrough night.
And I know with most things regarding entertainment nowadays and the way we consume entertainment as a society, we always have to say no spoilers. So I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot, but any details on those 3 new displays this year?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we work with our sponsors to kind of figure out what's missing. We always wanted, holiday themed, Christmassy things. So it's so we work with that. It's we've got one animated one that's sponsored by a wonderful Sugar Bowl and Culver's. You could kind of guess what that would be related to. It's an ice cream related display. So we've got another one, a butterfly that's being brought in, and then the last one being a hot air balloon, which is a new piece to it. So yeah, it's but you've got to come and see where they're in the park. I know each year we move a few around as we design where things are going to go, and last year our candy cane house that everyone thought was new, but we've actually had that one for 19 years. So it's kind of fun to see where everything goes as we piece it all together.
And one of the neat things, I know I've seen it on your social media post for quite some time, and you see it through other various public relations work you do regarding this event, is the support this community has given this event. I'd imagine it has to be very appreciative from your organization, all the folks that help out in making this thing happen.
Yeah, this is definitely not a one-man show or one-woman show. It's a team effort. We have many volunteers. I guess the two questions we get the most often is what new displays do you have, and how many volunteers does it take? And it takes about 350 volunteers to make this all happen. So we have the people that help with the setup of the displays, nightly volunteers. So we have folks out each night doing the drive-through. So you can drive through Thanksgiving through Christmas, 5 to 9 p.m. every night. So we have different businesses, families, groups out there greeting you. So always thank them as you're driving through, because they're taking time out to do that. Then we help tear it all down. So it's and in the winter it's always things get frozen in there a little bit. So we work with some local wrestling teams to make that all possible. So yeah, it's wonderful. And then obviously for our walkthrough night, which is that I guess next Wednesday now. So from November 22nd at 5 to 7:30 p.m. So we have a number of businesses donating soups, cookies, hot chocolate. Santa will be there. We have photographers on to take pictures. Pokey Pete will be there. It's a wonderful time, and we look forward to everyone helping us kick off Holiday Lights with that event.
And I know that walkthrough night is something that you started just a few years ago, as seemingly it's become one of the more popular nights you've had throughout this display. Is that a fair way to put it?
That is fair, yeah. So I guess, I don't know how many years, I think it's about the 6th year we've done the walkthrough night. As we started, it was just making sure everything was up and running, looking good. And then we added soups, from businesses that wanted to. We have a group of volunteers that helped to plan this all. And coordinate the soups and the cookies, hot chocolate, different activities that there we go. Sugar Bowl will be there. This is one of your last chances to get Sugar Bowl ice cream. That's become a really popular piece of it. But yeah, so last year we had a record year. We had over 3,000 people at the event, which was mind-boggling. It was wonderful to see how many people came out. It's a wonderful community event. We have parking on the south side of the campground, and then also at the soccer fields by Will Baker Park there. We have a shuttle from Earl Public Transit that will bring you in there, or you can walk the path into the campground. So it's the only night. There's no cars in there. You'll be able to walk through and see, and it's safe. And it's we encourage folks to come on through and enjoy the lights up close.
And you mentioned Holiday Lights will be open Thanksgiving through Christmas from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I know we're going to have a conversation about a couple of these events later on here in a few weeks, but there's a couple more highlighted parts of Holiday Lights. Why don't you briefly share those right now?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, so for drive-through visitors can come through the lights nightly, 5 to 9 p.m. So that's every night. We end on Christmas night there. So, and then on the weekends, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Santa will be visiting, so you can drive through and greet him, and he's got a little treat for everyone who visits. You don't need to be a kid, anyone's allowed. We also have Santa's mailbox there, so if you want to write a letter, and we'll make sure those get to Santa, get up to the North Pole there. And then another piece of the event that we have is our fireworks night. So that's back again this year. So that'll be Tuesday, December 12th this year at 6:30 p.m. So they launch from right behind the dike on by the football stadium at the high school. So we invite everyone to join us at the football stadium. We partner with the Booster Club on that, and they have cookies and hot chocolate that they provide as well, and all that's just a free will donation as well. But it's another nice piece of the event. So we encourage you to come through, drive through a few times. Sometimes you'll look to the right, you'll see certain displays, look to the left, and welcome as many times as you want.
And it's also important to point out the services that Helping Services provides, that the fundraising efforts for an event like this go towards run down some of the highlights for Helping Services, but because everyone knows about your organization, everyone knows the good it does on a day in and day out basis, but it's always good to be reminded of all of the things that Helping Services is involved in.
Yeah, so yeah, as we mentioned earlier, as we collect those free will donations, those goes to support our programs in the community. So that's youth mentoring, so matching here an adult with a youth who's seeking a mentor, and then our domestic abuse advocacy program. So we work with survivors of domestic violence to get them the best and safest outcome for their situation. So we have our prevention work, so to help prevent drug and alcohol, problem gambling issues in our community. So we work with many different partners on that. And then our family education and support team, which works with new parents, expecting and new parents to make sure their child's hitting milestones and do things as simple as car seat checks, weight checks. So it's a kind of an additional thing along with your visit to pediatrician and everything like that. So those are kind of the main programs, and it supports, as we mentioned before, it's not just here in Winnebago County, but we serve 8 counties in Northeast Iowa. So those dollars are going to work each and every day throughout the year, not just during the holiday season. So we appreciate your support as you make your free will donation, as you drive through holiday lights.
Anything we're missing? Anything else the public needs to be reminded of, as long as you got the forum this morning?
No, I would encourage folks, if you haven't been through the walkthrough night, please do come down. It's very different than the drive-through piece. It's both are wonderful. They're just a little different. It's a wonderful community event. So as we mentioned, we have soups and hot chocolate and cookies. Make sure to come early. Those get popular. So we open up at 5 p.m. On November 22nd, and we run through. So there's choirs and live nativity scenes. So it's a wonderful event. We hope you all will join us as we kick off the 19th season of Holiday Lights.
Ben, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for everything you guys do on a daily basis from the Helping Services perspective. And good luck with everything for Holiday Lights for the 19th year. It's going to be another great community event. And hopefully we get a little bit of snow. That kind of helps out the displays eventually too.
It does. Right now we're okay with the weather we're having with this a little bit warm up, but I agree. It's hopefully eventually we'll get a little bit of snow, makes those lights pop a little bit. I know we have a number of folks who wait till that first snow before they drive through, but it does make the lights pop. But it can't come too quickly though. We like this warmer weather too. So.
Fair enough. I'd imagine installation a little easier in 60-degree weather than in 20-degree weather.
It is much easier than having your fingers be freezing and everything like that. But it's a wonderful time. But yes, it's once the holidays come, it's time for a little bit of snow. It really brings the holiday spirit, everyone's holiday spirit up.
Ben Krouse-Gagne from Helping Services for Youth and Families. Holiday Lights beginning next week with the walkthrough night, Wednesday night. It begins with drive-through displays 5 to 9, Thanksgiving night through Christmas night. May not seem like it right now if you look outside, but the holiday season is upon us. And when the holiday season is upon us, it's good to get an update on what's going on in the business community of Decorah. Executive Director of the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce, Jessica Rilling, joining us. And Jessica, fun all starts this weekend with some Christmas open houses. Won't be any snow on the ground, but the holiday spirit is independent of weather, in my opinion.
Well, we are doing our part, Darren. We have our theme this year as Let It Snow. So we're trying really hard to kickstart that holiday shopping and just kind of festive season. But yes, so holiday open house. This is a great weekend. A lot of stores have specials and promotions. Friday night's the holiday hootenanny. There's like 4 stores that come together to do a fashion show and have a little party, which is fun. I think they still have some tickets left. But yeah, just a nice weekend to be shopping. So a lot of folks will have treats or special in-store things. And so it really makes it a nice time to go around with family or friends.
Whenever I hear the word hootenanny, I need more details. Give us some details on that.
Yeah, so this is a collaborative event for Friday night. It's Rendered Unique, Driftless Yoga Center, The Get Up, and Modish, doing a collaborative fashion show with like new merchandise, and I think drinks and hors d'oeuvres and live music. So that's a fun way to spend Friday night, and then you can spend your Saturday and Sunday at all of the great downtown businesses.
And of course, we touch on it every year in the holiday season, but we probably need to touch on it more. Obviously, there's a lot of options in the Decorah area to get that unique special gift for your friends and your family this holiday season. Just how important is it to keep those dollars local?
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right. And the fourth quarter for the small businesses in the Decorah area is a really important quarter. And so, they're working really hard to create an experience for you in the store. And that's, of course, the difference with the online and the in-person shopping. So it matters a lot. Local money stays local. And these are the businesses that are, putting a lot of energy and money and time back into the things that make our town great. So it's a reason to buy a unique gift, but also very much kind of a key piece of us having a strong local economy.
Countdown to Christmas is back. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So this is been going on for a long time. I love this promotion. We kick it off Small Business Saturday, celebrating small business. And as just a reminder, it's a slip, like a little drawing slip for every $25 you spend at the participating locations. We collect them every Friday, put them in a big raffle drum, and draw winners. We draw 4 winners a week, and their gift bags are really nice. It's like $200 worth of merchandise and gift cards to all of these great small businesses and area shops. So fun way to promote the places that are so great here and have special things to offer. We have a good time with it. I love, we have a big gold raffle drum that we draw the winners out of. So just really adding some showmanship, I guess, and making it a fun time. So that starts Small Business Saturday. So this is running through, starting then and then running all the way up until December 22nd. So lots of time for people to participate and be entered to win.
And if you're a business yourself and wants to participate in Countdown to Christmas, from what I understand, you got a few days left to let the chamber know you're doing so. Is that correct?
Yep, we've had a lot of folks already calling or emailing us. This is a really popular one, and it's been going on for a long time. So we typically have pretty high numbers of business participation. But we expect to hear from a lot more here in the next few days. I think everybody's so nice out. We're all kind of reminding ourselves that Thanksgiving is soon, and then of course this cascade of holiday things. So yeah, we work hard to try to make it as easy as possible for the retailers to keep up with all the promotions and just make sure that they know when deadlines are. But yeah, they do a great job.
And of course, this weekend, holiday open houses. Next weekend, of course, Black Friday coming up on Friday, and then Small Business Saturday on Saturday. What types of things will be going on in the Decorah area coming up next weekend?
Yeah, I know it's just kind of one weekend after another. They're all good weekends to shop here. I do know that there are businesses that will do specials for Small Business Saturday, and folks also that are, for example, helping with gift wrapping. So Hartman Realty will be doing gift wrapping on Small Business Saturday. I think they're using the impact space. But that's another great day to come out and enjoy the shops and buy local gifts.
And this is one that I hadn't remembered. Maybe it's a new thing, maybe it's not. My memory's getting faulty in my old age, but the holiday gift scene, Santa scene event going on. Give us some details on that.
Yeah, we've tried this a couple years. So we have a great partnership with T-Box Sports Bar and Grill. Immediately following the lighted parade, families, kids are invited to go up to the second story space at T-Box and get a photo taken with Santa Claus. And one of the things that Don Bachman has been so generous with is using that space, quite a lot of space, to kind of set up a Santa scene. And we were talking about how it would be a great opportunity to also promote local gift choices. Again, this year we'll offer that to area businesses to like have an item be sort of on display, like under the trees and near Santa Claus, just as examples of real things that you could go and buy. And we thought that was, just a good opportunity. So.
And here in a couple of weeks, Friday, December 8th, the always fun lighted holiday Christmas parade. And one thing to point out this year, that's going to be a Friday night instead of a Thursday night. Give us the details on the parade, which is always a fun event.
Yeah, so the parade we always encourage the floats and the businesses participating to lean into the theme, which again is Let It Snow. Maybe we'll have snow by December 8th. Or people will be getting snow machines for their floats. I'm not sure. But they can sign up for the parade as late as December 7th. So we'd love to have a lot of participation. We have actually pretty big crowds come out for this. We're excited about it being on a Friday night. I think folks might maybe stay and be in the downtown just a little bit longer than they maybe would have on a Thursday. And yes, immediately following the parade, they can go up for photographs with Santa. We'll do just for fun, we do judging of the floats. So there's some incentive to, really go all out and make the float fun. And right now I'm researching if there are good ways for us to dress up as snow or, just the usual on my to-do list here. But yeah, it'll be a good time, and we'll hope for weather that feels like winter, but isn't too cold.
Well, if anyone has any suggestions for chamber representatives to dress up, let us know. I'm assuming they can email you, right?
Definitely, yeah.
All right. That covers what was on my checklist, Jessica. Anything else we need to pass on about the holiday season in the Decorah area?
I hope folks can make plans to enjoy it. Sometimes putting it on your calendar or scheduling someone to go with you on some of those adventures to check off things on your list can mean that you get to it and it's on your calendar. So I would just have fun, have a good time. The downtown's really beautiful. We have the rooftop lights for the businesses. Like this week, we encourage them to turn them on, and the streets decorations are up, and it feels really nice downtown. It feels really nice right now. It's 60 degrees, but just a beautiful downtown, and nice to see it with that Christmas spirit and be reminded we live in a great place.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, because it's always good to just enjoy that holiday season. I think we all tend to get caught up in the hustle and the bustle and everything else going on, and sometimes we don't enjoy it until it's December 24th, and next thing you know, the holiday season is done. Now I think we all need to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? Let's enjoy this great time of year.
Yeah, I remember last year you asked me about when the gentlemen needed to get out to buy their gifts, and I don't remember what I advised you, but we ended up having a pretty significant snowstorm on that weekend right before Christmas. So here we are. They've got weeks in front of them. Get your shopping done early in case winter does come, and then you can be done. So
very good advice to all of us guys out here, and to everybody in general. Jessica, always appreciate catching up with you and telling us about everything going on in Decorah. And have yourself a wonderful and great holiday season. And here's to holiday cheer and maybe some snow, maybe in a month or so.
Sounds reasonable. Thanks.
All right. Jessica Rilling from the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce. Holiday open houses taking place this weekend. Joining us now is Nick Yaneff. He is a police officer with the Decorah Police Department, and weird to talk about it when it's 60 degrees and sunny out, but 5 to 10 minutes from now, knowing the state of Iowa, we could have snow on the ground. That's the way it goes. So good thing to keep some winter driving tips to the front of the line. And Nick, what should people know at this time as we get ready for the winter driving season, which will be here before we know it?
Yeah, so I mean, just as we come up to this season, it's just like Darren's saying, some good idea to take note of a few things and to give ourselves some friendly reminders. So, I mean, I think of it, let's go through it as though you're going through a day where it's going to be winter, right? So before you go outside, let's look at the forecast. Let's see what it's going to be doing, what the weather's going to be doing. If it's going to be snowing, if it's going to be sleeting, it's going to be a nice day, or if it's going to be frigidly cold. So always check that forecast before you go, and then make sure your vehicle's ready to drive. So remove that snow and ice, get it off your headlights, get off your tail lights, get off your license plate and off your windshield, obviously. So sometimes we see this, a little square in front of your eyes, that's not enough. So you want to get it all the way off those windows so you can see out of your blind spots, so you can see through every single part of your windshield. And then just a quick tip on that. A lot of people like to leave their vehicles running in their driveways for 20 minutes, half an hour, so their car looks like it's a summer day. Just be aware that people, especially people who have maybe criminal tendencies, will be looking for vehicles that are just sitting unoccupied, running in driveways. So, I mean, let your vehicle warm up, yes, but you don't need to sit out there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes every single morning. So, but do remove that snow and ice from your vehicle.
And related to snow and ice removal from the vehicle perspective, I know you're giving the guidelines, but should an accident happen with an obstructed windshield or obstructed viewpoint from the driver perspective, what type of traffic violations or citations can be issued to a driver if you don't do that?
Right. So that's something that we have to take into account when we go to a vehicle collision. Yeah, I mean, maybe we're looking at how much visibility you have. Is your vision obstructed? Is it accidentally obstructed, or is it maybe negligently obstructed? So all that's going to be taken into account. If you get into an accident, your insurance company's going to look at that. It's going to be in our reports. Whether you get cited for that or not, that's another thing. But do understand that all those different things do play a part.
Now, when there is snow or ice on the roadways itself, what are some of the things folks need to keep in mind?
Yeah, so just remember, I mean, snow and ice, it definitely does affect our driving, but don't let it affect yourself so intensely mentally that you kind of freak yourself out. So just drive smoothly, slowly, and plan ahead. So if you know that you're going to be going and you live on a gravel road and you've got 6 inches of snow, don't plan to drive 10 miles per hour over the speed limit because you're running late. Try to leave early. Try to look ahead and make sure that you're taking the most direct route, but definitely the safest route to get to where you're going.
And a lot of things with travel, whether it's weather related or just travel in general, safety related, has to do with more time management than anything. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, definitely. And just making sure that you're not depending on others to get you somewhere. So, I mean, don't depend on other people to get out of your way. If people are driving slower because they're being more cautious, don't let that, like I said, affect you so much that you're gonna put yourself in danger to get around that person. So, just minimize those distractions and understand what we're dealing with. And it's not like I said, don't freak yourself out and think, oh, we've got an inch of snow, I gotta prepare for 34 hours in advance, but know what you're going up against.
And of course, when snow does fall within the city limits, there are parking restrictions when it comes to where you can park on the city streets and avenues and byways and highways. I guess not highways technically in the city limits, but people know what I mean. What do people need to keep in mind when it comes to parking within the city limits once snowfall has fallen?
Yeah, and you know that I knew that question was going to come up. We've had some change in administration, so I'm not sure how that's going to change our parking regulations within the city, but it's always kind of a tenuous subject within the city. So just understand that you need to be looking out, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's listening to the radio, when we have a snow emergency in effect. The sooner that we can get people to move their vehicles to the appropriate side of the street. So typically, if it's, let's say it's the 14th today, you need to have your vehicle on the even side of the road. So let's say the street number is 908, 910, 912. Make sure that you're on that even side. And on an odd numbered day, get onto the odd side. That way that our street plows, our street department can go through and make our streets safer sooner.
And you guys aren't trying to inconvenience anybody by forcing them to move it to one side or the other. You're trying to get the streets totally cleared so everybody can use that street eventually, correct?
Correct. And I mean, we're going to do everything in our power to be able to get you some forewarning to know I need to move my vehicle. And even those days where we need you to move it and you haven't moved it yet, we're going to try to do our best to get a hold of you. So we're going to try to find a phone number for you. We're going to try to go knock on your door, even reach out to somebody who might know you to get that vehicle moved before we have to take a measure of either ticketing it or towing it. But do understand that there are ramifications if you are not moving your vehicle.
And of course, this isn't technically related to winter weather, but Thanksgiving holiday is upon us. A lot of people are going to be on the roadways, and another special traffic enforcement program is going to be underway here, I guess, starting today as I look it up here. But what are some of the things you're going to be looking out at from a law enforcement perspective to make sure the roads and the streets are as safe as they can, especially with a lot of travelers on the road?
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to see us out on the road more, whether that's within the city, the county, the state. Officers are going to be out more, and it's not to inconvenience you. It's not to do anything like that, but it is for your safety. So if you get stopped for speeding, if you get stopped for weaving in the road or something like that, we do know that there are an increased number of impaired drivers during these seasons in which we have days off, in which we're celebrating with family, which is great. But make sure that you're doing so safely and responsibly.
And I know, like the night before Thanksgiving is usually a pretty big bar night for a lot of people. Bottom line, if you go out and imbibe, just make sure you play it safe and get yourself a ride home as compared to taking that gamble, which could cost you a lot of time in insurance and legal and jail time, but also put a lot of people's lives in danger, correct?
Correct. Yep. Not only your life, other people's lives, but I mean, let's say something does happen, then it's not only going to have an effect on you and on those other people, but those people that love you as well. So keep all that in mind as you go out and you celebrate and you have a good time, but do so responsibly and have a plan.
Definitely. Anything else you want to pass on from a travel perspective, whether it's winter weather or the staff program that's underway, or anything else the police department wants to pass on to the public, as long as you got the forum this morning?
Yeah, I think just one final thing is when we do get into those winter months in which we get some intense snow, in which we have some weather emergencies, please do stay at home if you're able to. If we're saying don't go on the roads, if we're saying, or if the weather station's saying don't go on the roads, it's too dangerous to drive, understand that there are times where we can't get to you, where emergency services can't get to you. So do put yourself first over events, over different things. Put your safety first.
All right, Nick, we appreciate you taking the time to give us some important reminders about the upcoming winter season. Now, if it's 60 degrees for a couple more weeks, I'm not going to complain personally, but I know a lot of people want that snow on the ground once December gets here. Thanks for taking the time, Nick, and thanks to you and everybody else with the Decorah Police Department for what they do to keep our community safe.
Yep, thank you.
MFL MarMac Coach Conversation brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Havlicek Trucking, and Meyer Auto Service. We're with head coach Dan Anderson as we get ready for the Class 1A title game on Thursday afternoon. It'll be MFL MarMac in Grundy Center. Coach, you're still playing football. How'd you get it done against Underwood?
Well, physicality, I guess, is the number one thing. You know, those guys up front got a good push, and we were able to wear them down. Resilience is important. We had a Wyatt went out of the game in the first quarter with an injury, and you lose, your all-state running back. There's a lot of ways. A lot of people would say things like, if something bad like that happens, hey, it's next man up, and that's what you expect. But a lot of times it doesn't happen. That's tough. You're playing against a team that's the top scoring team in the state of Iowa and one of the best defenses in Iowa, and a big game in the Dome somewhere we've never been, and you lose your running back that's run for 1,000 yards, has led us for years, and he goes down with an injury. But the kids really responded. They, it was really important that Wyatt stayed there on the sidelines with, and kept cheering the guys on, and we didn't really miss a beat. The other guys, they stepped it up. So, it was great to see the mental toughness and the resilience in our kids when bad things sometimes happens in football and injuries happen, but kids responded well. And so time of possession was important. And I think we had 34 minutes of time possession. They had 14. If you're going to beat a team like Underwood, you can't let them have too many possessions because they are dangerous. And they proved it when they had the ball. They scored, they had 282 yards passing. And that quarterback was, as advertised. He was good, and so was their receiver core. But we got some turnovers.
And you were able to take the lead heading into halftime. And in the second half, Bryce got that pick 6 on the first possession for Underwood. In the big picture, how big was that just to take control of the game?
It was, gave us a 2-score lead. And, when you're playing a team like that, no lead's real secure. But that was huge. That was huge, to have a pick 6 in a big game like that. And he read it well. Great thing was that, we were able to get pressure. Carver, blitz Bentine, sent him off the edge on a blitz. And he was, got pressure on the quarterback, made him throw it a little quicker than he wanted to. And Bryce made a great read and stepped in front of the receiver. And 34 yards later, we're up by 2 scores. And so that was huge. It was a huge turning point in the game. And, our crowd was going crazy. It was awesome. Never seen such a big crowd at a semifinals game. I've been to a lot of them watching. First one I've got a chance to coach in. And our fans were awesome. They were loud, and that really kept us in the game.
And Quinn McGee had to step in and replace Wyatt once he went down. Obviously, a very good statistical game for him, 161 yards, 5 touchdowns. What made Quinn so ready for that moment that he wasn't expecting and maybe wasn't even wanting at that point, but he was ready and willing to go when called upon?
He's a mentally tough kid. He really is. Going to, wrestling for years, going to state wrestling. Being on the big stage doesn't bother him. He's a team player. He doesn't care about his own statistics, and nobody does on our team. They don't care who's scoring touchdowns, as long as we're scoring touchdowns. And it just happened that, Quinn had the hot night. We rarely have the same back lead us in rushing from week to week, and you never know who's going to be the guy that's going to carry the team. Carver had a big night carrying the ball too at quarterback. I think he had 150 some yards. He never got in the end zone, but he had a bunch of huge plays and running midline option and pulling the ball and taking off with it. Big first downs. But yeah, Quinn's just an outstanding athlete, super hard worker, extremely smart. If you're going to step in, he plays fullback for us, but obviously when Wyatt went down, he was getting some reps at halfback too. And, he couldn't ask for a better guy. He could probably play a lot of different positions, and he knows a lot of positions. We tell our kids that, the more you're willing to learn, the better opportunities you have out there to help the team succeed. And so Quinn's one of those guys that always knows what's going on, and he asks questions if he doesn't know.
And with Wyatt, of course, he's going to be out this coming Thursday. Obviously, he's meant a lot to your football team, not only this year, but in years past. But your opponent isn't going to feel sorry for you not having one of your team leaders on the field. Where's that balance between just having that next guy to step up, but at the same time, the human side of it and having empathy and being heartbroken for a kid that can't play in a state title game?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts me. I'm sure it hurts him and hurts, everybody on the team, because we're all invested in this and we've all been working hard for this. He's been a great leader for us, captain of the team. And, it's painful for me as a coach to see that happen to a kid go down and, happened in the first quarter. Those guys rallied around him, and I don't anticipate that, I don't think that anything will be any different this week. I think our guys will play extremely hard and play with that same desire and passion. And, You got to play, if you want to win in a football game, in any game, especially in a state title game, you got to play at a high level with a lot of intensity and a lot of heart and guts. It's one of those things that doesn't show up on the stats, but our guys have it. Our guys have the mental toughness. We work them extremely hard in practice, condition them, put them in tough situations. And, a lot of the credit, though, I mean, the one thing that was, that stayed the same the whole game was our offensive line, Darren. I mean, our offensive line dominated that game. They guys up front, Cade McElwain at tight end, and Schulte at power tackle, and Thornton at power guard, and Howes at center, Gordon at quick guard, and Deal at quick tackle. Those guys were they were pushing, man. They were physical and wearing those guys down from Underwood, and they had some really good defensive linemen and some good skill guys, but rushing for over 400 yards. Those guys were giving up 33 yards a game rushing, I think, on the season. So when you can rush for 400 plus yards more than what they were giving up, pretty good game. And it's not just your backs. A lot of that has to do with your guys blocking for them too.
What's this week been like? First time in school history, you're playing for a state football championship this week. Where's the line between that mental focus and that preparation to get your kids as ready as possible come Thursday, but at the same time, just allowing them to enjoy the excitement in the ride?
Yeah. Hope they enjoyed it over the weekend, because it's back to work this week. We got another job to do here. I mean, we said that going down to the Dome last week. We're not just going down there to play in the game. I mean, it was our first time ever to the semis, but you would never have guessed it when our kids played down there. They didn't have the wide-eyed look. They weren't nervous. They played at a high level from the very get-go, and they've had a good week of practice. I mean, that turf's hard on your body, pretty banged up. Some of our guys, they're getting healed up from last week's game, and it's quick turnaround. So I'm sure that Grundy's guys are kind of banged up too, I would imagine. So yeah, this week's more important. It's not cracking shoulder pads with each other. We know who we are. Kids don't have to prove anything to me and our coaching staff about physicality. We know, our kids are physical. They'll hit, they'll tackle well, they'll play with a lot of heart. Important thing right now is just knowing their assignment and making sure we get healed up as much as possible, before Thursday afternoon's game, because it's, like I said, it's a six-day turnaround for the state finals. And, but we're in the same boat as Grundy. I'm sure that, it's tough for them to get prepared in 6 days too.
And what has the practice schedule been like this week with this Friday to Thursday turnaround?
Yeah, so everything moves up a day. So, I don't ever require my kids to do anything on the weekends, except for this week. On Sunday, we brought them in. We had practice on Sunday afternoon, went over the game plan. It was more of a walkthrough. Then Monday's practice was our typical Tuesday, our tough Tuesday practice. And now, today being Tuesday, it'll be our Wednesday practice, getting our last preparations in. And then tomorrow it will be our, the pregame, perfect Thursday on a perfect Wednesday. Get everything ready to go. Make sure everybody's sharp, knows their assignments. And let's jump on the bus on Thursday and head down there to Cedar Falls.
And going back to last week, and I think this is an aspect that I know some coaches and players touch upon, but maybe from the outside looking in, we don't understand it because we're not on that inside. How much of just wanting to go out and win that game and play another week was just the opportunity for this unit to have one more week of football and have as much football together as possible?
Yeah, these kids have been playing together for a long time. It's just great that they can kind of, we made it all the way to the end. I always talk to my kids the last 5 weeks. Is this going to be the last week? Are we going to be turning our gear on Monday? Well, we'll be turning our gear on next Monday, and those guys, they know that now. There's nothing past this point. Some of these guys may go on and play some college football. We have some guys that have the abilities. A lot of these guys, it'll be it. This is the last time they'll ever put the shoulder pads and helmet on. And, that's a very emotional time for these guys and for the coaches. We put a lot into this. We have worked so hard for where we're at. It's not a fluke. These guys have worked so hard in the off season over the years. Coaches have worked so hard. People don't know all the hours we put in and to get to this point. And so, it'll be emotional whether we win or whether we lose in that game. These kids have already won, for what they've accomplished, but we still have the goal in mind that, we plan to be down at the Dome. And actually, I've got stuff written down on my desk here from 6 weeks ago, game plan for Grundy. I believe we were going to be at this point, and our kids believe we were going to be at this point. We thought we'd be facing Grundy, and that's where we're at. And so, I've got things written down, from Grundy way before we knew we'd ever play him, because I thought this is where we would be, at the last week of the year. So our fans, I tell you what, Darren, coming out of that garage door goes up down there at the Unidome. I told our boys, I said, boys, there's some special times in your life, when you get married, when you have kids, pretty special times, things like that. But so when this garage door goes up and you hear the roar of that crowd, man, you guys are going to remember this the rest of your life. And our crowd, they came through. They were so loud. They were the 12th man. And we appreciate that. And that, like I said, that's the biggest crowd I've ever seen, at a semifinals game in any class. I've been to 5A schools, semis, and I've never seen a crowd that big. Hopefully our crowd travels that well this week, and we even have more, because that really, our kids don't get tired when they have all that energy from all those fans yelling and screaming. And it's loud down there on the field, that's for sure. But the kids came through.
And obviously, at this point, your opponent is going to be really good. Grundy Center has been the number one team in Class 1A throughout the season. Looking at them on film, what impresses you the most?
They're always good. We saw them in 2019, and their coaching staff always puts together, a great team every year. They've been in the state finals 5 straight years. They won it last year, 28-0, I believe, and they've got most of those guys back. They have most of their guys that won the state title back on that team. So got a 25-game winning streak going, and they've really been playing well the last 3-4 weeks. They had some close games earlier in the year. They had some rematches with some of those teams, and they faced them the second time. They blew them out of the water. They had a 7-6 game earlier in the year with Dyke, and they beat Dyke 40-0 the second time they played. I think there was a 21-14 game with Waterloo Columbus. They beat in a close game early in the year, and they beat them 42-7 last week. So they're playing really well right now, but we're playing really well right now too. So, we went down to Regina, a couple of years ago. They were the number 1 ranked team, or number 2, and they had a 21-game winning streak. And, we beat them. Our kids don't get intimidated by anybody. We respect Grundy. They are the class, they are the top of the class. They've been there all year, and rightfully so. I mean, they are an elite program. But our guys are ready to play football, and our coaches have them well prepared, and we're excited about that opportunity to play in the Dome. And it's going to be a tough task, but we're going down there to win. We're not going down there just to play a football game.
All right, Coach. Well, it's been fun having these 13 conversations, as many as we possibly can have throughout the season. I want to thank you for taking the time each and every week to have a conversation with us, and keep you guys healthy and take home that tallest trophy come Thursday afternoon. Best of luck to you.
All right. Thank you much, Darren.
Dan Anderson, head coach of the MFL MarMac Bulldogs. These conversations have been brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Meyer Auto Service, and Havlicek Trucking. Thank you to our guest on the program this morning, Ben Krouse-Gagne, helping services for youth and family. Holiday Lights opens up with the walkthrough night next Wednesday night, and it'll be open 5 to 9 Thanksgiving night through Christmas night in Decorah. Jessica Rilling from the Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce. Holiday open houses begin this weekend. Of course, next weekend, it's a Black Friday, Small Business Saturday. Countdown to Christmas starts Small Business Saturday. Holiday Parade coming up December 8th. All sorts of holiday fun in the Decorah area. Believe it or not, we'll have winter weather here in the not-too-distant future. Nick Yaneff of the Decorah Police Department giving us some tips, also reminding us of the special traffic enforcement program underway coinciding with the Thanksgiving Day holiday. And best of luck to the MFL MarMac Bulldogs this afternoon. Bulldogs playing for a state title in football for the first time in school history. They will take on Grundy Center at 4 o'clock. And we want to thank Dan Anderson, who, by the way, is a 1996 Decorah High School graduate. He is coaching the Bulldogs, and they'll take on Grundy Center this afternoon. Don't forget, you can see the video portion of this show archived on YouTube. We realize you're busy, can't always have a radio available to you, can't always have the smart speakers available to you at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning, but We had the privilege of talking to 4 pretty interesting people this morning, and we want to bring you those interviews on your schedule for those that can't make it in the 9 o'clock hour on a Thursday morning. Go to YouTube, search 1116 Our Town program. That's a way to get this program. Also, we put these links up on our Facebook pages as well. Another way we try to the best of our ability, stay in touch with you and the community through the conduit of LA Communications. Thank you to our sponsor, Decorah Bank and Trust. A thank you to our guest, and most importantly, we thank you. That's right, you, for tuning in, for logging on, or for watching Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.